Well, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and for those who are actually watching a rebroadcast of this show, thank you very much and enjoy. Today is actually January 28th, 2011, and actually this is the first official broadcast of Voices for the Voiceless. So for those who are not sure, but you're watching Voices for the Voiceless, first airing of the show today. So as you can see, a lot has changed since my last unofficial show that I did. It's been an incredible month actually. A lot of things has changed and a lot of updates, and I was working on behind the scenes. And as you can see, I have a different background, which is actually makes a big difference in broadcasting. And so this is a new field for me as well. So I'm transitioning and learning a lot as well in broadcasting. So you know, it's something new, and everybody's gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna adjust as we go along with this show and progress. And so we're always growing, as well as hopefully you are growing as well as an individual person too. When I first, also wish everybody Happy New Year for those who actually was with me watching the first show that I did in the beginning of the year. It was an incredible show, and actually started the year right. Set Your House in Order, that was the title of the show. And so ever since then, been growing, actually been doing a lot of things. So, and as you can see, it's already the 28th, the month is already over, with a couple of days left. And so, are you setting your house in order is, the topic for that last show. So, hopefully things is going well. Your wishes and goals and dreams for the new year is coming to fruition. So let's get started with the show. My name is Dimitri Frederick, and welcome to Voices for the Voiceless. You're watching me live as of today, January 28th, like I said. This is new in broadcasting. This is going to change the way we broadcast and communicate with each other. So welcome to the way of the future. I wanted to give you a little background about myself. My name is Dimitri Frederick, like I said. I have about 15 to 20 plus years of experience in business and also life experiences, which allows me to do this show today because it takes a lot, in years of planning to be able to come to a point in your life where you say something has to change. And so that's actually, to start off, I will start off with the title of the show. So, this is my welcome show. And but it's also have a message within the show. So the title of the show is also "It's Time for Change." So my welcome message and it's time for change. So let's get started. I am the CEO and founder of Voices for the Voiceless, as well as Poetic Imagery in Motion, which I'll talk about towards the end of the show. It's actually my poetry company that I've been writing poetry for many years, and basically working towards publishing some of my works finally. So that's a work within itself that I'm looking forward to getting accomplished within the next year or so. Also, Frederick Media Production is actually one of my companies, which is a subsidiary of Voices for the Voiceless, because I believe that everything that you produce, whether it's this show, my poetry, or all the things I'm working on for projects, that I needed to have a house, or a place where I could manage it. And so that's what Frederick Media Production is. It basically allows my companies, as I continue to produce, develop things, this is its home. Everything's produced through Frederick Media Production. And so even this show. So and last, Frederick Capital, which is actually the parent company of the show and many of the projects I'm working on in the next couple of years. So this is always a work in progress, and things will change along the way, and look forward to it as well. You need to understand that success is a process, and so my mentors once said to me, do the thing and you will have the power. And it was just a profound statement. Says do the thing and you will have the power. So for many years, I've been working and doing the thing in the process, and today you are actually seeing this show because of the thing I've been doing, which is an activity. And so most of us, our philosophies may be offset or backwards, and thinking that please give me the power first, whether it's your job, success in life, or whatever career goals you may want to accomplish, and then I'll do the thing. And it's not the right philosophy. It's do the thing, and then you'll have the power. So I hope you adjust your thinking and your mindset to understand that the power is within you, first of all, to begin and to have success. And so you must start by doing it, the activity, and then the success will come down the road. So a lot of us just have that mindset that we want success first, and then we'll do what it takes afterwards. Well, it's kind of backwards thinking, because the process from thinking, developing ideas, concepts, innovation, all start within yourself. So do the thing and you'll have the power. And this show today is truly a representation of that. I've been doing what I needed to do in my life throughout many years now. So, and I'm gonna give you a little history and background of Voices for the Voiceless, and also how this company got started. So the history of Voices for the Voiceless.com actually started a little about July 22nd of 2011, and I started doing that show on Facebook. But before that, I was already thinking, I've been just sharing a lot of stuff with people, and just said, you know what, I need to finally put something up. And one of the things, if you go back to my Facebook page under Frederick.Capital, that's my username, you see that I said, you know what, I needed to speak out, to give a voice, because there's a lot of things going on around the world that needed to be put into attention, and also give a perspective of how we could look at these things, and also how we go about solving these things in our lives. And so wanted to do a show, and I started, in the sense of just do the basics and do what you can do, and continue to progress. And that's what I did. And I did that up till December, where, I realized, hey, I understood that I needed to do something. So you got to get started in something, to begin the process, do the thing, and you'll have the power. So what I did is, did it for a few months, and then as things came about, I realized that I cannot give away my assets. And so we'll do many shows about owning your assets, copyrighted materials and so on. And so when you look at Facebooks, the MySpace, the YouTubes, any other social networks, whatever, something of intellectual property that you have, you post it up there, you understand that you are giving it away, and you're actually the one that's creating the content for that company. And so I'm very well aware of that. And so I made the conscious decision to actually change what I was doing, and find another vehicle. And a vehicle did come to my lap that allows me to control my assets. And so, if you have a talent, a gifting that you have to share, you want to own it and you want to control it. And a lot of people today don't understand the difference between owning an asset or owning paper, money. And again, I'm a trainer, so it's hard to not to be in training mode, but understand that money is not an asset anymore today. And it's hard for some people to understand that concept right now. But again, this is a business show, so we'll talk about those things in the future shows as well. But I need to own my assets, and that's what I did, decide to own my assets and create this show environment for myself, so I could have full control, distribution rights, and so on of my shows. And so going forward in the history of looking at how Voices for the Voices got started, I was in college, and this is in the late 90s, and I was attending an event, and I had a friend who gave me a camera to record it. Now, it wasn't no ordinary camera. It was actually a little small hand-sized camera. Today we have cell phones that could do the same thing that this camera did. It was a Hitachi camera that stored about 40 gigs of data. And I think back of that, and just reflecting that, I had a vision and said, you know what, wouldn't it be great if I could just record this event and be able to broadcast it wirelessly or live on the internet, so someone else way far away could actually see this event and participate in it. And so that was the original vision for you could say Voices for the Voices, but the name wasn't Voices for the Voices actually. Back in the .com era, about 99, 2000, I developed that thought process to creating what's called InternetLive.cc, and it was a company that was short-lived. And I had the concept of believing that you wanted to be able to broadcast and access the news live, where you can, just like CNN gives you 24-hour news, but giving you news that you want to participate in and understand that that's going to motivate you and move you and give you the insights of things that you will not normally hear or learn about. Sometimes the news is glorified. Like you said, the Rodney King, O.J. Simpson, Michael Jackson, all those things just dominate the news stations, but the rest of the news doesn't seem to matter. And so I understood that, and also want to say different as well. And so I also started looking at the news in the sense of business. If it's on paper, I realized that it was already old, and that's so true when you look at the stock market, business news. Because I remember a story of hearing about how the stock market got founded way back in the days, and I believe they used to use pigeons to distribute, I guess, trading information, take it to another site where the pigeon would be familiar and travel back and forth between this body of water, I guess, to actually get to their location, destination, and deliver the information. And so we've come very far from that in those days. And so the stock market has changed, and I understand that, business decisions made in a split second, in trading. And today I was doing some trading myself in the stock market. And it was a very volatile day today, actually. And so, imagine that capability. Imagine the news that you're getting right now in the newspaper that was printed prior yesterday. And so, is it still current? Yes, maybe to some extent, but the business people who are affluent and successful have already gone into that insider trading information, or they know the heads up before you do. And so the news gets old faster. And so, being able to broadcast the news live or online, which is where we're heading towards, is where the industry is changing towards. And so you need to understand the shift in thinking, shift in, technology as well, to understand that, hey, maybe there's something to that, broadcasting, having access to information right away. And so those are all the things that was in my head at the time. And, but, of course, like everything, business needs to have funding, needs to have the right resources. And at the time, the development of the idea, the concept wasn't there. And so it did fall apart, just like the .com fell apart around that time. So I never per se took part in the process, but I had the same mindset of those in my era that I was taking advantage of the .com era. And so I left internetlive.cc aside, and it was still in the back of my mind, and I moved on forward. Now, moving forward, I saw Apple came out with podcasts, and I found out that was fascinating. It made me think about the internet live again, and understand that it piqued my interest, because now you have the ability to actually create some kind of show and air it to audio, and moving along, I saw potential. I saw that how I could recreate the internet live show again in many formats, and then came about the RS feeds, which allows you to do radio broadcasting, and everybody can distribute it to connecting, and so to the internet, that is. And I know that colleagues have used it for business and also for the news. So today we so heavily rely on RS feeds for information and knowledge base. So saw the value of that as well, and saw, wow, technology is continuing to grow and developing. Then Apple came out again with the iPad, and so most people didn't see the full value of the iPad when it first came out, and I could say I was one of the few visionaries that's probably, besides Steve Jobs, and who knows what he's always doing, and always the greatest salesman of all time, you could say, because he understands how to sell products and show value. And so I saw the possibilities of iPad, but even further than iPad, I saw a vision that I had. And everything takes baby steps. And so the vision that I had way before iPad came out was the vision of using holographic technology. And for those who don't know, holographic technology is basically kind of having, if you've seen a lot of sci-fi movies, see this fake environment that just beams itself, and you see people talking to somebody else, just like how we have video communication, television, but it's to a hologram. So basically, it's not real. And so, if you actually saw the CNN election of President Obama broadcast, they actually demonstrated holographic technology. And for those who wasn't paying attention, you missed it. But me, I'm always keen to understand technology and how to use it. I saw it and I was shocked and I was excited. Not only that, the first black man was elected president, but also the capability of holographic technology. Now, how does that relate to the show? Well, I actually saw the vision of Internet Live originally as being able to broadcast, holding my hands, a virtual environment of a newspaper. So instead of having a physical newspaper, I envision a day that we will be using some kind of holographic technology to actually receive our news fast, live, and animated. And so, that was definitely something that caught my eye, and I understood that, I had to make a decision. There was no more choices left. I had to move forward if I wanted to be successful. And so, there's that fine line between success and failure. And so I made the choice to be successful, as you can see today. And I started this company, Voices for the Voiceless. So next, going forward, I had a business friend of mine who actually introduced me to my video talk, and this is the technology that I'm using today to broadcast to you live, and also for those who will be watching the show, afterwards. And so I understood what I was already looking at from Apple and other things that was coming about. So this was nothing new for me to see the value in broadcasting and also video conferencing, and because that's where the future is at right now. Even just the other day, when President Obama did his State of the Union address, he actually addressed that, video communication, and that's the future. And so I talk about technology so you could understand where technology is going, because some of us don't know how to embrace change and technology at the same time so that we could be successful in life. And so there's good technology and there's also bad technology, but you also need to understand that you need to utilize the technologies that you have in front of you, or that's always changing, so you could benefit yourself and also prevent yourself from being downsized, because things change, but people don't change. Sometimes we want to stay in our same habit of comfort. So the next thing is you realize that dreams do come true, folks. And so if you work at it, you realize that it's a process, and that over time, it'll come. So like I said, do the thing and you'll have the power. And so if I didn't continue progressing in my vision, in my journey to do this broadcasting show, and I would have never started in the proper time frame, because I would have never continued thinking about it, never continued having the vision for it, and therefore I would miss out when all these technology was available for me to start doing it. So there was no more excuses, like I said, for me to have success and do the show. It's just whether or not I was going to be serious about it. And so when you look at your life and the things that you want to accomplish, are you just trying and doing it, step by step? You could start off by just doing baby steps. It doesn't matter. But along the way, things will change that will help you become successful, progress. Whether it's people or things or technology that comes into your life, over time, success will be yours. But you got to start the process to begin that process. So do the thing and you will have the power. It is a slight edge philosophy that was taught to me many years ago by my mentors. And so moving forward, also understand that I started the show Set Your House in Order because my pastor had done a powerful service just before the new year came about, and he used this theme, and it seems like it's going to be the theme for the year, in order. And so you really are setting your house in order for you to be successful. And so in a sense, I'm doing this training and also doing a show to introduce to you concepts and philosophies that's going to be I'm going to be doing throughout the whole as long as I can do this show. So the first show of the new year is Set Your House in Order. But you need to understand that before you set your house in order, there's certain things that has to be done. Like I said, the process has to begin. But understand that you cannot set your house in order if you don't have certain things in line or in place already for your success. The first thing I would say, and also it's one of the things I've been focusing on for the last 2 years, is, do you know your purpose? Your purpose for life, the purpose for living, a purpose for doing the things that you do. Do you have that in order? And I think my pastor just had a power service just about a week or so, and talking about that. And he used a great example. That we could be at the church in life, or having great careers, but certain things are not in order. For us to have success. And so everything may look good on the outside, but on the inside, you're not right. One thing I have always done for myself, and especially towards the end of the year in December, is do a self-evaluation of myself. It's like a gut check you do to determine where are you moving towards, whether it's forward or backwards, and understand why you're going backwards. And it takes time for you to reflect on those things. And so if you don't do a self-evaluation of yourself every day, or just like, a business plan, set goals and adjust those goals as things change as well. So you cannot grow if you don't have your life in order, And so moving forward, you need to embrace technology for your success. And so my life has always been leading me to this date in time. Looking back, I found many things that I saved as a kid, whether it's technology or just gadgets that I had. And as a teenager, today it's kind of unique that I see that my life was already set in order, and I was already doing some certain little things that today, when I reflect back on them, realize, wow, I was already predestined to be doing a show like this. I just didn't know it yet, and technology had to progress to catch up to me and my vision. So I understood that early on in life, but didn't really develop it till I got older. But I was always in the process of becoming someone. Technology also can help you become obsolete, and so you need to be careful of that. And so today, when I look at this technology, and amongst many other technologies being developed today, you got to be a little worried. A lot of us are too busy working on putting our heads down, doing the grind per se, but never paying attention to how things are changing, whether it's progressing for your benefit or your detriment. And so by that I say, look at the post office, for example. The post office is really struggling as a business because they're always behind in the 8 ball, you could say, of technology. And I just saw a recent commercial that they broadcast that they will be doing online stamps. That's been done, and it's been being done for many, many years now, and they're just catching up or just advertising that feature. And so when you see your prices, your stamps go up, understand that it's not because cost of things getting expensive, it's just cost of maintenance. And I'll have another powerful show to go into the details of that topic. But understand, things change, and then technology could also help you become obsolete. So whether or not you want to progress and keep moving forward, that's always up to you. But understand that technology doesn't wait for no one at the same time. I want to give you a good example of that. I had the misfortune to work with a young lady. Actually, she's a little old lady, but she's still young in spirit and heart. And she had a Windows 2000 machine. Now, I'm also in technology in the IT field. And so knowing that, when Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 2000, if you don't know that already, I think last year, some point in the summertime, they stopped supporting Windows 2000, and therefore she had a Windows 2000 machine that had to be upgraded, and she never upgraded that computer throughout the whole process. So many years has passed. I would say about good to 5 to 10 years has passed since Windows 2000 was popular and was the thing. It was a good operating system, by the way. But this woman also had Netscape installed, and I haven't used Netscape or even really played with Netscape in many years. And so, as I upgraded that lady's machine, and it just made me realize, and this is why I'm sharing this story with you, that she was forced to change. See, she kind of delayed the process and refused to change as things change. We moved from XP to Vista now to Windows 7, but she never made the choice to learn and adjust her sail, adjust life. And so, in the same manner that she resisted change, at some point you cannot resist it, because at some point life will demand that you change regardless. There's no more excuses, there's no more timeouts, or there's delay from the inevitable from happening. It's just gonna have to happen. And so, I gave her this new computer, Windows XP, and Office 2002. She had 2002, and she was just using Netscape, so everything was new to her. It was like a shock moment for her, and I felt bad for her, but it also made me realize that, there's a lot of us in our lives right now that are in that same point, because we refuse to change. And we're still in your working years maybe, and you think you don't need to adjust and pay attention to technology as it changes as well. So if you embrace technology in the process over time, it's easy to graduate to the next level of what technology comes about. But when you start resisting it, and over time you never progress, you never make the effort to change or learn it, guess what? At some point you have no more choices. You will become obsolete. And so that's what happened to her, and that's what happens to life at the same time. So I saw the comparison, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of us in that boat right now that refuse to change and will not understand why we need to change. But life will not wait for you. There'll be something that's demanded of you, and that will be by force for you to change your life. And so I'm going to move forward and actually talk about, Voices for the Voiceless, and what is it about? What kind of show is it? And so know that Voices for the Voiceless is more than just a news show. It's you could say it's like a combination of CNN, Fox News, and cable news at the same time. And it's also different, and those are a few shows that doesn't deter from any other shows. That's great shows that they do on cable. But Voices for the Voices, is about educating you, the masses, enlightening you about success, like talking about progress, enlightening humanity. As I look at the world and see the things that's changing and what's taking place, I think, you could say humanity is losing, in the sense that where we're going as a people, as a race. I think when we don't think as a collective of one, we all trying to do our own thing, we create chaos in the process. And so I'm concerned because I have no children yet that's born, but I understand that at some point, whether it's my cousins, aunts, and whoever have kids in the future, I have to make it a better place. And so it is important to me that we care about humanity and help us to grow intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and that's one of my goals. And so this show will help you, enlighten you, and give you the knowledge that you need to progress and change if you're willing to change. And understand that most people will not change, and that's okay. So I want to empower you with this show, and also by covering a lot of topics which I'll be discussing further down the show. The next thing is, when I talk about seek out, I want to help you seek out the truth, and by that I mean self-education, self-learning, self-evolving. And so you cannot rely on the basic news today for information, and a lot of people just sit in front of a TV, watch the 6 o'clock news, 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock news, and take it as is. Information is changing, and also you need to know that the news is controlled and owned by big corporations today. And I think that's one of my biggest reasons for doing this show, because there's a conflict of interest. You have to understand that if a big corporation, that owns a sports team and owns a newspaper or owns a company, they could write and manipulate the news how they want it to be said. And so you need to understand, whose interest is that news broadcasting station is protecting, yours or those who give you the paycheck and sign the paychecks. And so be aware of that. Also know that when I look at the news today, I see that it's somewhat watered down, being that what you want to hear, what you need to know is not always given, so you have to seek what you want. And so as I look at life and also understand that just like you get education, it's great that you get an education, but you need to seek further knowledge, further wisdom. And so just relying on a degree by itself is not good enough for success anymore. So you need to always be pursuing something for greatness. And so I wanted to understand that people today, will not just rely on self-education or just anything else. You need a combination of everything today to be successful. So I think people, as we progress and becoming self-conscious, we're going to be moving towards, want to seek the truth for ourselves. And so by that, you really have to search for it, whether it's to online, to my show, or any other things that's available out there for you to gain the knowledge that you need. And that requires of you to read, and I'll be talking about personal development towards the end of the show as well. The next thing you need to know that this show is not going to do one of those feel me good type of shows that you may have seen before, or the warm and fuzzy shows. This show is focused and dedicated to hard truth. It's knowledge based, so I'm going to always be sharing knowledge and information to help you become wiser, smarter, and empower you. Like I said, it's an important thing to me and it's an important thing to you, and that's one of the reasons I know that you're watching this show, to be enlightened and empowered all the time. So the show is a series of shows to help you change and focus on changing your life for the better. One thing for sure, you will always get complainers in life, and so life is filled of complainers, but one thing you need to know that you could always change a channel, which is a TV, so it's old terms, you could pause it, you could change the website, or you don't have to watch, and so understand that no one wants to really change a life. As much as we say we want to change, but sometimes we just don't want to, because the comfort zone is so better, that we refuse to change for the better. So understand that you cannot complain and also say you want to change. You got to make a choice. So knowing that life expects something of you, you could always be complaining, but nothing's going to get resolved. So you have to make the decision to either you're going to seek a solution to your problem, or just let life let you complain and get nothing accomplished. So broadcasting the news without limits or restriction of time is something that's also important. This is, I've watched many shows before, and I've also seen, many things that, maybe pertain of interest to me or to you that you would like to see on for maybe more than just an hour or 30 minutes or what have you. But understand that because, television is broadcast in a time frame of time that, they have to move on to the next show. So regardless if the information was pertinent to you or informative, they have to move on and cut it off. I've seen Oprah shows many times where she has some good topics that I wish they would just continue on, for another hour or so, but they can't because they are a broadcasting station and they're set by order in time. So, when I thought about this show and I thought about, creating this company, I didn't want that limitation. I wanted to be able to broadcast, record as long as I wanted to. So, understand that this show may become 2 hours long, and that's okay. Archie and the CEO and founder, so I could do that. But also understand that I will never put a limit to a show or topic, because I will set the show for just 30 minutes or less, or up to an hour, and that's the time frame I will keep it within. But understand that there's some topics that you need to really go and address. There's so much to be said, and also people may have a lot of concerns, and so there's a lot of information that needs to be addressed. And so you cannot just say, oh well, that show is just 30 minutes long and that show is just an hour long, so therefore we got to cut a lot of things out. See, the internet allows us to express ourselves, and so with that ability, I want to express as much as I can to help you, empower you. So I'm not going to give you less than what you need. I'm always going to feed you the things you need to be successful. So understand that you always get great news and information, and it's also available to you to watch at your leisure, at your comfort time. The next thing is this show, you need to understand that it's a business show. And so in regards to talking about complainers, a lot of topics and philosophies I'll be sharing with you is based on business principles. So you may complain about some things that I say, which is fine, but I'm not here to read emails about complaints. My things, you got to do something about it, But you also need to understand the concepts and, the background behind what I say and how I say it. Because if you haven't had some training, personal development, growth, or business experience, you'll not understand most of the things. But over time, if you watch the show enough, you start getting some concept. And also, you could always go back and rewatch any of the shows that I do. And so you need to understand that, again, you have to be growing, reading, and doing the activities and paying attention and observing as things change. So the show is designed for entrepreneurs, and business owners. Now, most people don't understand today that entrepreneurs and business owners, they are two different things. And I tried my best to explain, and thinking about it for a long time. Entrepreneurs is always growing and developing. And when I think about entrepreneurs and business owners, I really tend to go back to Robert Kiyosaki's teachings. I'm a big fan and student, I should say, of Robert Kiyosaki's philosophies. And so when you think about BNI quadrant, which before I should start off by saying that Kiyosaki has a quadrant book he wrote about the cash flow quadrant, where he talks about ENS, BNI, and the ENS is employees, self-employed people. Then you got the BNI, which is just business owners and investors. And so, as I look at the difference between entrepreneurs and business owners, one is always progressing, moving forward, and the business owner is always consistent and content with where they're at. They may be growing a business, but I've realized that there's some traps to just being a business owner. And I'll be doing shows about that topic. This is not the time and place for it. But understand that there's a big difference between, entrepreneurship and business owner. Next, I have an extensive 15 plus years, like I said at the beginning of the show, of knowledge, experience, training, vision, and also foresight. So it helps me to help you by knowing that, I'm always trying to grow, always reading, and most importantly, trying to better myself. And so when you think about the things I'm going to share with you in this show, it's come out to about equivalent of having a PhD degree. That's what I've been taught by my mentors over the years, that, the knowledge that you'll get from this show will help you even start a business, progress you towards wanting to start a business. And also, if anything else, is to have success in life, to become a better person for your children, and your children's future as well. So, knowledge is powerful, but when you apply it, it's even greater. So this show is here to help you do that. And also, I'm always stretching and also learning from other people as well. So it's not just me here just sharing stuff, I'm always doing it. So it's through the activity of doing things that I progress and have success. And likewise, you could do the same for yourself. The other thing I wanted to do with this show is actually bridge the gap between the haves and have-nots. And since I was a young kid, been in this country, I realized that, the haves continue to have, and the nots continue to not have anything. And technology also bridges the gap and also separates the gap. You get a little closer each time with technology, but also it widens it further, because those who understand technology, how to utilize it, will go further versus those who shy from it, don't understand how to embrace it. And so you need to understand how to empower yourself to technology. I know a lot of educated people and smart people, but at the same time, they just share the knowledge within themselves or keep it from everybody else. It's like it's a secret that they keep private and don't share. And so one thing I know for sure, though, is that one place that my mentors taught me that all smart, educated people share the knowledge and come together. It's called the burial ground, your grave site. So to me, when I look at life, I realize, why not share the knowledge and blessings with somebody else that I have. And so one of the reasons for doing this show is that I wanted to empower other people, like I said, over and over, because it's important. It's not just about being smart, being intellectual, or just, showing off that you just, have a high IQ, but how are you using it to utilize it to empower somebody else to be successful in life? God gave us gifts, and it's time that we use our gifts for the betterment of mankind. And that's one of my goals with this show, is to empower you to become a better person and help somebody else become a better person. So there's a Bible verse that I want to share with you. It says, "What good does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul?" Now, I don't remember the exact chapter where this verse came from, but it's something that it's always stuck in my mind when I first heard it, and understand that, it doesn't profit you. When you look at today, what's going on in our economy and our society, there's a lot of greed, and that's what I mean by that statement. What good does it profit a man? You have all the knowledge, all the information, but you're just keeping it to yourself. So if you don't share something, how can you grow? Even if you just share within one person, you just empower somebody. There's another philosophy someone taught me. A candle loses nothing when it lights another candle. And I was blown away when I first heard that, because when you think about it, a candle doesn't lose anything as far as energy goes, as far as lighting brightness goes. It just empowers another candle to even be brighter. So if I could help you become successful, be brighter intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, I know that I've done my job. I fulfill my purpose, and I've accomplished a goal in life. So it doesn't hurt anybody for you to share the knowledge to gain, but also understand that, there's nothing free. And I'll talk about that towards the end. So let's talk about the shows that I have created images for. And those are all from Google. I was able to get some nice pictures that's not copyrighted at first. The first show that I want to talk about is not in order. It's just reading out the shows to you. Is about entrepreneurship. Well, that may be in order because I'm a big fan and I love entrepreneurship. I love business, and most importantly, I am a supporter of network marketing. So I will say that up front, because a lot of people don't understand the philosophies of network marketing, and because there's a lot of scams out there, and so a lot of people, may have tried things. I say, do you really try life, or do you participate in life to change? So until you participate fully, and also in the right company with the right personal development, would you understand what network marketing is all about. And rarely do people take the time and participate in a good company and stick around long enough to understand certain philosophies. I'm a byproduct of success because of network marketing. And so I've had years of training, and I love training because I understand the importance in my life, the fundamentals for success. You don't have to go to college to get that PhD and get a master's degree, but understand that if you spend the time reading the right books for success, that's going to help you grow and stretch your mind. You could tremendously have a PhD of intellectual property and also financial success, because that success leads to wealth that you could create for your family, generations to come. You can read all the books in school, take all the classes in school, but in the end, what have you learned financially to help yourself grow? And most of the time, you don't. And so understand the time that we're in economically, it's time to be an entrepreneur. And I will be doing a lot of shows. Probably a lot of my focus will be on why you need to become an entrepreneur and the importance behind it. The next show I want to talk about is called Finance and Investing. It's another powerful topic because there's a lot of things going on economically that you need to know to empower you for success. So today the stock market dropped to almost close to 200 points. I think about 160, 150, or further than that. I stopped watching it to prepare for this show, but I started looking at investing in the stock market 1999, and also started realizing something that was interesting, and no one ever taught me these things about finances. My parents not in finance or have some, a lot of financial knowledge about success in business, but I took it upon myself in 1999 to start investing in the stock market. And what was interesting about that is that I found out there was such a correlation between the reality of the real world and the stock market. And I think a lot of people, when they think about the stock market, they think it's like something in the air, something in the environment, or something to cyberspace per se, that allows you to have success in money or investing, whether it's real estate as well, or anything that's involved in trading. Well, they both are two and two together, because what happens in the real world, from a corporation downsizing to jobs increasing to layoffs, or something that's going on politically in the economy, that also affects the stock market. And it was a profound understanding early on in my success in life, that understand that you need to know both. A lot of people who are actually real estate investors, they don't necessarily know much about the stock market. One thing I was taught and understand that half the people in the world have made the success to the stock market, and the other half have made the success in the real estate market. So when I heard that, I understood that why not learn both? One thing I've learned is that when you have fear, and you don't understand something, it paralyzes you. So for years, didn't know much about real estate, didn't understand real estate. Actually, I'll share with you, if you play the game Cash Flow, it's a game by Robert Kiyosaki. It'll actually give you a fundamental understanding of real estate, and that's first how I started learning about real estate, too, understanding how to paper trade and how a balance sheet statement determines an asset of a property, whether or not it is an asset or not an asset. And so that was the beginning of my journey in the stock market investing, and then I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and there's many more plans I have and goals to actually learn and actually maybe one day invest full time as well. But as my show goes on, I'm not here to make claims of how to invest or what you should do, invest in certain stock or even real estate. But what I have to share with you is some information that will always empower you to be making wise decisions about your real estate investments, about your stock investments, and so as well as anything that pertains to your finances. There was a show that I actually recorded just recently. It was a toss between politics and finance, and I chose finance because if the state goes broke, it does affect your finances and everyday things that you do. So you can watch that show next. Actually, we're going to address that topic towards the end of the show, but I had done a pre-show ahead of time because the information was so pertinent that I didn't want to wait. So I had done a recording on January 21st that talks about that, and I will mention the title of the subject towards the end of this show. The next thing is like to look at world news, world events as it pertains to you. A lot of time people look at the world, it's so big that they can't control it, they can't understand and grasp that something so far away in an opposite side of the world could affect them. And so one of the things I talked about at the beginning about stock market, as technology continues to expand and grow, the world got smaller and smaller. So we wasn't really far apart in the first place. The technology kind of bridged us together and made the world smaller. And so by saying that, know that everything in the stock market to real estate today does affect us. So whether or not you're hearing something like today, Cairo, Egypt, there was a riot going on, and a lot of people want to protest. You also heard news around the world of countries going bankrupt, in trouble. To you, being in the U.S. may not think has anything to do with you. Well, I'm going to talk a lot about that show and many shows about subjects like that to understand that these world news does affect you. You may not understand fully how it affects you because you're not a business owner or entrepreneur, but you as an employee, it does affect how the overall paychecks, your job security, and also how currency is traded. So it does affect you in the long term. So you need to pay attention to that. And so I'll bring those things to your attention as I see fit. One thing I do want to say, which I didn't talk about earlier, is that, one of the things about my show is that I will never broadcast just the same information that you saw on the news. I will always broadcast things that you may not understand or may not understand, the slight edge, you could say, or a different way about thinking about it. You know, you could look at it one way, say, oh, because that's what they're feeding you, but you could also come and look at my show, whether or not it's a subject that I think is of interest, because I will not record any shows that's just of the same topics, or maybe redundant over and over on TV, because I feel like you probably will get from different sources enough information to make a decision about your economic situation or whatever way this show or this issue can pertain to you. So I will do shows that, like I said, that don't always get the attention that it needs to get, but I think is relevant to your success in life. The next thing we'll talk about is politics, and some of that finance, like I said, issues and investing does pertain to politics. Today you see a lot of stuff and going on in the news, CNN, and again, there's a lot of political things going on, and so I cannot be politically correct, as I do this show, because I understand that by me restraining myself, I cannot speak totally truthful to you to help you be successful. So, like I said, it's not going to be no watered down version of the news. You're going to hear it the way you need to hear it to empower you to know the decision that you need to make from the information that you get. So, I've always had a love-hate relationship with politics, because, I hate, politics per se, but also I can't help talking about politics at the same time. So it's that love-hate relationship I have. So, as things come about, you'll see many shows. I already have a couple of show topics that I will be airing soon probably, and you can get a glimpse of those issues. So we're going to be talking about some hardcore issues in politics, and understand, yes, we may be black and we may have a black president, but understand that a president is a president regardless of whose race, color, gender is in there. So there's there's a saying that business is as usual. So the status quo always maintains itself, because few things change, and if you just watch the State of the Union address recently, I have a few words I could say, but I'm not going to do it at this time. But understand that some things stay the same and other things do change. So you have to know which ones change and which things stay the same. And I have a powerful show that I will do in the future about the State of the Union address, because it was something that I was made aware of, that unconsciously I didn't even think about it or pay attention to it. But it's very important to your students, your children's, as they go to college. And I'll be talking about that show in the future shows. The next thing I want to address is community development show. That show will be focused on just everyday things that's happening in the community. Understand that there's a lot of times, there's things that, I think is empowering to us, especially in the black community, to know about, versus the violence or the things that you're always seeing that's not empowering you or helping you grow intellectually or spiritually. So it's always seeing bad stuff, but never enough of the good stuff out there. And so again, this show is a business show, so it'll be catered on business things that, that's empowering people in the community. I've always talked to one or two people I know that is doing some great things in business, and probably will be doing some show and interviewing those people and also promoting their business and their success. Remember that a candle never loses nothing when it lights another candle. And so if I could empower you to having your support and also being self-aware of things going on in your community that you could take part in, participate, and help contribute to the overall success of our community, then it benefits all of us to do it. So one of the shows that it was necessarily designed for a show that I put up there is a talent show. One thing, you could say this is a talent, or everybody has different skills, and this technology through my video talk allows us to produce and create and be creative. And so, I recorded, for those who was able to see beforehand, one of my good friends, actually, Phil Walker. He actually has a tremendous talent. I met his family, and man, they are talented people, been in the music industry for many years. And so, that's the thing I love about people, that God give us talents and abilities. And so we need to embrace, again, technology that will help us to, fulfill those abilities, to express those technologies, to technology express the skills that we have. And so from time to time you will see some recordings of events or people that I just think are incredible in what they do and their skills. And so you will watch them, and I'll put them on as long as I can or switch them around. But as always, when people have talents and skills, they need to be heard. Let God continue to bless them, empower them to their abilities. The next show that I want to discuss is actually personal development. Actually, the last two shows I'm going to talk about actually are not even up yet in my show. But as of the last couple of weeks, I've thought about, I mentioned personal development early on in the show. It's been one of the basically foundation of my life. And so I understand the importance of self-education, self-learning, self-taught. And you could do that all the time, 24/7, at your own comfort of your home, to reading a personal development book. And so I'm a student of personal development. The success that I have today, the things that you see today, is because of what God has done in my life, but most importantly, the things that I've become aware of through personal development. And so personal development is so powerful, so important to your success. And so most people don't understand that when they finish school, they never picked up a book again, And that was me at one point in my time in my life, actually, because I didn't like to read. I didn't understand the importance of reading. And what I realized that it wasn't because that I necessarily didn't like to read, it's the information of what I was being forced to read in school. So I fall in love with reading again, you could say. It's helped me tremendously to grow to this person that you're seeing today. And if it wasn't because of personal development, who knows where I would be? Because I think a lot of my growth would have been short-lived, and I would have to go a long process for my journey for success. And so I decided to put a show on this topic because we need to continue to grow, to evolve, to become better, and that's what the show is about. And so I won't necessarily have issues of books to read because that's one thing I've done in past business where we have books of the month, just like Oprah has a book of the month. But because I read in different pace than the average person, and I don't know where you are in your life, because the things I'm doing now versus what I did when I first started are two different things. But one thing I've always done, which is recommend one book to people, because it actually was the foundation of my personal development growth, and it's the book that I fell in love with. It's called Who Moved My Cheese, and I believe that's by Spencer Johnson, that wrote that book. And it's a powerful book because the reason I tell people to read that book, because it's a short book. Someone told me that when I first read the book that it'll take you about a week. Again, I was a slow reader and I hate reading, so it took me about a whole month to read the book because it was stretching me for the first time to learn how to love to read. And so I take everybody to that process because I understand that personal development is so important, and it's hard for me to express how important it is to your life. But understand that once you start, because it's about mindset, changing your philosophy. And Who Moved My Cheese is just what I'm doing to you today. I'm actually trying to change you to move with the cheese. There's 4 characters, hem and haw, and then sniff and scurry. And so my life has transitioned to those characters, and I evaluate myself and looking how I changed today, because at some point you're going to be hemming and hawing why you need to move. But then when you start understanding and embracing the change in your life and seeing what God's doing to you, you're going to start saying, man, I need to be sniff and I need to be scurry when I see success and I see potential of where something's going to direct me towards, or meeting the right people, making the right connections, doing the right things in your life to progress. And so that's just to give you a glimpse of what Who Moved My Cheese can do for your life. And so your life is going to tremendously move. My life has already moved to doing this show already. So I'm blessed, and I know what it can do for your life, and that's why I'm actually promoting this show. I don't get no benefits from telling people about this. Who Moved My Cheese? It's a great book. I encourage you to get the book, and actually even businesses have utilized this book to empower their staff to grow and change when things get hard and when companies need to transition. I've been told, and I've also read it, I believe in the book, they mentioned that companies have suggested that their staff members read that book. And so understand the power. If corporate America supports and believes the philosophies behind that book, I guess you could also understand that as an individual person who needs to be changed, who needs to be innovated, who needs to seek their purpose in life, this book could help you do the same for yourself. Last but not least is the last topic of shows that I have, and probably will have more in the future, who knows. But a friend of mine asked me or mentioned that, Dimitri, you got a lot of shows, and like, to me, I didn't think it was enough. But there's, like I said, as I continue to grow and develop, I will continue to do things that will help you, empower you, have topics that will do that. And so the last topic is about networking, and that's what we're here to do as a business person. Understand the power of networking, and also networking also implies network marketing, because I'm gonna continue educating people about network marketing, the power behind network marketing, and it's the word leverage. And even like I said, there's a difference between entrepreneurship and also business owners. Well, the key word within that is that networking capability to have leverage and also create multiple streams of income, and you need to understand the philosophy behind that. And that's where network marketing may come in, also learning how to network properly with people. And so we all are networkers, and so don't want to go into details about networking, but understand that every day, whether it's Facebook, MySpace, the YouTubes, or other social networks, you are actually networking. So you may not never thought of it as networking, but it is a principle. And so if you learn to utilize the right technologies to your advantage, success could always be yours. And so I've talked a lot about one topic. I don't know if you paid attention to it, and this is something you will never see per se on a show or in a news broadcast, and that's the topic about God. And so made a few hints, drop a few words mentioning God, and hopefully you caught that. And the reason I mention that, because it's something that's very important. So moving forward, understand that God is the missing key to everything, but we feel that we must leave God out of everything at the same time. And so I had an interesting experience one day. I was on a bus, and I heard two kids, and a boy and a girl, talking, and their conversation was regarding God. And for some reason, the young lady mentioned God, and she said God was a joke. And I didn't know the reason behind why she said, but it was sad to hear that. It was also very disturbing for me to hear that, because I know what God has done for me and what God can do for you as an individual person. But when you look at a show and you're talking about news, when you hit the word God, it doesn't go together in a sentence. And so this is a unique show that I'm doing, and therefore I'm a man of God, so therefore I will talk about God. And actually every principle and philosophy has something to do with God. And to give you a little insight as well, which I didn't intend on doing this, but when you start reading personal development, trust me, you will start understanding God in itself, because a lot of philosophies from the books that you will read, if you start doing personal development, actually was written by godly men and women. So who would have thought? But a lot of references, verses, statements, they have biblical references, biblical principles within them that will empower you. And so as we continue moving away from God, it's funny how God will always push us closer together, back to God and His purpose in your life. One thing, when you look at news anchors, they don't talk about religion, because it's a conflict of interest, and also, I guess, and I respect everybody's religion, but, to them on television, when they broadcast, it could be a, conflict of interest to them. But, I watched a study that was done. It was about news reporters, for example, Dan Rather, the Tom Brokers, the Peter Jennings of our times. And the study actually proved something that was interesting. It said that based on your facial expressions, that determined their, and in this subject though they were talking about, it was regarding political candidates, So let's say whether or not you're for Obama, Sarah Palin, or McCain, or anybody else that was running for president at 2008, But what they were saying in this survey is that the facial expression of the person who was the reporter on stage will actually determine your reaction and how you vote. And so it will sway just by the expression on your face in voting. So I say that because it's funny that we don't want to talk about God on air, but at the same time, you cannot be biased because we all have opinions. And so regardless of your opinions, your body language speaks for itself and tells the truth. One thing about me is that I cannot exclude God out of my life because God is within me. So I was born and raised in the church. So everything that I've come to know and come to become has been because of God in my life. So I understand the importance of God, and every show I do, it may not be directly talking about God, but understanding that purpose and empowering yourselves to becoming a better person requires you to have a little God inside of you as well. So I know what God has done for me and for you, what He could do overall. A lot of us think that we don't need Jesus anymore, but there couldn't be any greater point in time in our life that we could use a little God, a little Jesus within ourselves to help us deal with the struggles and the times that we're going through right now. One thing I know as well, I cannot be great and do great things without God. Lastly, I want to say that my vision cannot be stretched without God in my life. God has done tremendous things in my life for the last 30 plus years, and God continues to stretch me to become a better man, become a better person. And so to even do this, because you cannot care about humanity if you don't have God in you. So again, I had to talk about God in my show. Like I said, you could either complain or you could change the station. You could watch something else, watch something that's going to entertain you, but I'm going to always be grounded in what I talk about, knowing where I come from. So you're not going to get anything different from me. Therefore, there will be an essence of God in every topic that you watch. Like I said, you may not be directly related to the subject, but understand that when you think about people, you think about changes, you got to look at the common sense. Common sense of, are you hurting people? Are you embracing somebody? And so always make sure that you do something that's empowering people and knowing that you're doing it for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. Remember, this show is about helping humanity become enlightened. And so, again, God plays a role in those things that I do. So, having spoken about God, I wanted to address a topic that for the last couple of months since been preparing for this show that has been come across, and that's the subject about free. There's a lot of things from Skype to some other new technologies out there that's free, that's available, that anyone can grab. And I also understand that I'm talking to non-business people as well, and that's fine. And actually, I want to talk to you because some business people and entrepreneurs may already have the knowledge that they need to be successful, but you don't. And one of the reasons that you don't have it because you don't understand business, you don't understand the process of success. And that one of the things that behind that is the ability to understand the difference between free and not free. One thing I know, just talking about God, is that God made a sacrifice for us. He died on the cross. And so today we take advantage of God because we don't understand where we came from and the importance of God in our life. 10, 20 years ago, I should say probably 20 to 30 years ago, Christianity was very big. Today I see Christianity as a small percentage of people that's trying to survive and believe in something that's, had an impact in our society, how we shaped ourselves, our thinking, the way we respect and treat each other. And so today our kids don't understand God, don't understand the importance. And as we continue to grow each year, we seem to take away God less and less in our life. And it's like, I have only 1%, I have only 0.5%, and that's to a generation of our children, because we don't think we need to have God in our children's lives. One thing I'll say about that is that you have to think about, you grew up, if you're an adult watching the show, with God in your life. So you understand the importance of God's blessing and grace for the things that you've done as a child. Now, going forward, we don't understand the importance of God in our kids' lives, because we don't teach our kids the importance of God, because we've come to the point where we're walking away every single day, that we don't need to address and embrace the things that God has done in our lives. So the further we walk away, the further our children also walks away from God and never understand the meaning of God. So today, the concept of God and philosophy of God's teaching is not for you as an adult. It's important for your children to be saved, because there's a lot of things going on in society, and I could say the system has set in place for your kids to fail, and they take away God out of your life, and that's the first foundation of groundedness that's needed for your children's souls to be saved. Because I say that, you need to understand purpose. See, if you don't have a purpose, you don't have order, you don't have direction, guess what? Your kids will be lost. And so at an early age in my life, I understand the purpose of my life. Understand that I was grounded because God was always in my life at a young age. And so throughout my life, I've progressed, and I've always in the right frame of mind, never caught up in nonsense, because I had order in place. Today, there's so many chaotic things that's going on, that our kids are lost. Our kids are committing suicide. There's no place that they could go on, feel safe, whether it's in school or in a library. Whether you hear shootings, stabbings, fights, it's always going on. So, if you don't embrace God, a little of God in you, our kids will continue to be lost. And so you as an individual person, is there anyone that could change that by getting God in your life first? Therefore, start changing your life, therefore you can change your children's life as well. And so understand that God did that sacrifice for you. He didn't have to, but he did. But generations later, we have forgotten and walked away from the meaning and the purpose why God gave his life for us, to be saved, to be free. So today we take freedom for granted. So there's nothing free about free. There's always a price that has to be paid, and a lot of us don't understand that price. There's blood that was and tears that was shed for you, so you could have success, so you could have freedom today. And I think a lot of us don't understand the meaning behind those things. So let me help you get closer to understanding something that's present, something that's current, and that's Dr. King and Malcolm X. These two men, and there's many great other leaders. I don't want to exclude any one of them, but I want to use those two as an example. They gave up their life for our freedom. Today, our kids, even as adults, don't understand the importance of your freedom. Every day, the things that I do, I'm trying to fight for my freedom. One thing I've talked to my wife many times before, that people don't understand that there's invisible shackles that's between your arms right now, and that's your job, which stands for just over broke. And it's hard to understand when you cannot see something. When you lack the vision and the ability to embrace change, embrace what someone did for you, made a sacrifice for you, whether it's even your parents or your guardians long time ago, to have success. So we take our freedom for granted. I see kids sitting in the back of the bus. Rosa Parks paid a sacrifice, in jail, embarrassed. She just passed away recently, and today it's a joke. So it is not free. You sit in the back of the bus because someone allowed you, and it wasn't for the right reason to sit in the back of the bus. Even today, I still refuse to sit in the back of the bus because I understand what Rosa Parks did for me. It may not be taught in school still today, but I understand the history, and that's one of the reasons why I continue to self-educate myself and understand the importance of those who pay the price for my success, so that I could continue to be blessed in the future, and hopefully one day bless my children and their generation going forward. So don't take things for free as free, because there's nothing free in the world, and that's coming from a business perspective. You as an individual person, if you're not a business person, you will take for granted things that you may see, just because they have a free sign on it, that is free. I said that there is nothing free when it comes to the business world. Someone always has to pay a price, because what you don't see in the back end is that something has to be developed, concept, design. There's nothing that's put out today that wasn't marked by a business patent or concept. So there's nothing that I could just come out of the streets, say I'm selling this and that, and then have no credibility behind my name or way of to verify, am I legit, am I credible, and just sell you something, whether it's food, drinks, t-shirts, what have you. So everything, even a church, is a business, and I think a lot of people forget that as well. So there is nothing free, folks, in life. Let's look at, for example, cell phones. I know I have a cell phone. I have a Droid X, which I do enjoy, and that is not free. I paid for that, but also I paid for the apps that I get for free. And how does that explain itself? Well, when you think about a free app, you have to pay attention, because subconsciously there's a lot of things that's done to you that you may not be aware of. Just recently, I was, preparing for the show. I was looking at my apps that I have, which, yes, some of them are free, but I also understand that there's advertisement being put on the forefront of that free app, and that's why it's free to you. So you think it's free, but on the business side, it's not free, because every time I click on it, I actually did click on something that caught my eye, and I know someone got paid for that. See, if you don't embrace and understand how business is done, you always take advantage and take for granted what you think is free, and it's not free. So I say that to tell you that, just like anything else, I broadcast my show. It's open. I could charge, but for right now, I don't plan on intending to charge. But one thing I say to you is that if at any point in time the future shows that I do has empowered you, has blessed you, just like if you were going to church. The pastor had a great sermon and had a word for you, and he said, hey, there's a bucket up front. You could actually make a deposit to bless and empower that pastor for putting a blessing into your life. Well, the same is required of you in this show. So it doesn't say required, but it's requested of you. So I'm going to be leaving some links to PayPal and some other things, affiliate marketing that you could actually click on to endorse the things that I'm doing, because it is not free. My time is not free. And so if I'm empowering you and hoping to empower your children, someone else in your life, I hope that it blesses you, but it also empower voices for the voices, so that we can continue to bless other people and do more things in the future through many shows and many activities that will be done to Frederick Capital and subsidiaries. So you need to understand that there's a price that has to be paid for the betterment of mankind at any point in time. Regardless of what you think it is, free or not, there's a price that has to be paid. So see the difference between companies that take shortcuts in life. Most recently, you could think about Toyota, which had a very grounded company, solid profits for many years, and almost, I could say, for generations. Now that company recently make some shortcuts because they wanted to just focus on profit, and they paid the ultimate price and having recalls and damage. So in the end, does it pay? It never pays, because you do it the right way or do it the wrong way. And so you have to determine that, and that's the same philosophy behind that. Another example to look at is, I have the fortune to be around the healthcare industry to understand the difference between free care in a state-funded healthcare versus a private healthcare where you pay for it, you get quality service. And for the last couple of years, as I think about that, I realized, and at one time I've been unemployed, so I know the difference of not having health insurance. So you see the difference in quality of service that you get. So I understand that there's nothing free in life, and likewise, much is expected of you, as much as has been given to you in life. So take that for food for thought per se, and understand that continue to help me bless this show to improve and do the things that I need to do with this show by clicking on whatever advertising that's there or making a donation. All I ask of you that if you do see the value and the importance of something that I've said in the shows and past and future shows, that you continue to empower me by empowering you to a donation, so I could do it in full time. Because right now, every show that you see will be just about every 2 weeks on a Friday around this time, 10 o'clock or so, or on the Saturday morning, depending on my flexibility. And so as things change, I hope to do more shows in the future, but it'll be every 2 weeks or so on a Friday that you will see a show aired. So there's so much to be said. I wish I could do more shows on a regular basis, but time doesn't permit me at this time to actually do many more shows. So I do plan and prepare and think a lot about the shows that I do in advance. So it's there to empower you, like I said, But as we wind down the show, I wanted to give you some updates of things that's happening with Voices for the Voiceless. Already, I've actually worked on being able to create a Twitter site for you, so you could actually tweet and share with the things that I've said in a show, and also know when next upcoming shows are coming about. I'll create a blog where you could actually watch the post and see anything that's being done on Voices or updates that are being made on Voices for the Voiceless. So the Twitter link or username is actually V4DV, which is Voices for the Voiceless. So V as in Victor, the number 4, David, and Victor. So the symbols V4D, and I've also utilized this throughout the description of the shows, so you're familiar with that. So what I've also done, because I know that Voices for the Voices may be a long word to type, or may have some misspellings or miscorrections or whatnot. So what I've done is also created the symbols V4DV.com, so that you could easily access my site. So you could go to voicesforthevoiceless.com, or you could go to V4DV.com, and you still access the same show. What I've also done for you is that I've posted, actually I'm still working on this to finalize it, but Facebook, I started, like I said, doing Voices for the Voices on Facebook under my company name, Frederick.Capital. Now you could actually have your own access to Voices for the Voices and post things or have discussions on your own, or things that I might forward from links and shows like I've done in the past, and just accessing that. So when that's ready, I'll be letting you know to some post, a blog, a comment that I'll leave on the site. But for now, it's not finished yet, so I don't have a name of the show yet, so you could go and look it up, but stay tuned. I also wanted to let you know that Voices for the Voiceless, because I understand that technology is changing, and some people are not quick to change with technology, so therefore people like to maintain to what they feel comfortable with, or maybe don't have a new up-to-date computer or even a cell phone like I do, that I could even watch the shows if I wanted to on my cell phone. Well, I decided to make sure, so that I don't lose anybody, to create Voices for the Voiceless .info, and that .info site will be just dedicated to just a text version of the show. So anything that I say or type, it will be typed, so that you could actually read it. So I'm working on that, so that's in progress, so it's not complete yet. So if you go there, you will not see anything, but that's one of the future plans, to actually allow you to read Voices for the Voiceless .info, so that you get the same equivalent of video, which is not as great as doing it video and live, but you could get the text version so that I don't lose anybody out. All right. So there's also been an email that I created. So now, if you have any issues or topics that you'd like for me to address or look into, feel free to email me. The email address for Voices for the Voiceless is myvoice@voicesforthevoiceless.com. So it's myvoice, MYVOICE @voicesforthevoiceless.com, and I'll be leaving that a post so that you could actually reach me at any time that you want to. I will check the email. I will reply back to you. So feel free to utilize it as well. And for future shows, I'm working also on doing an RSS feed so that you could actually access my info page anytime and just be connected, whether it's to your cell phone, to other feeds that you already received. So you could do the same thing. So when I have that ready, I will be letting you know about that as well. And like I said, I have created a PayPal account. So if you want to donate to the show, feel free to support what I'm doing and understand the importance of empowering other people and the things I could do by blessing this show with some financial needs as well. So I'm not going to put a set price, whatever in your heart, but at least, something within $5, because I think PayPal do charge a percentage fee. So, anything between $5 or whatever your heart desires, just feel free. So that when you see the link, it'll probably be a donate logo or some kind of PayPal logo that you'll see. And again, I'll post that information when it's available. You could actually click on it and make a donation to Voices for the Voiceless as well. So last but not least, I have a surprise for everybody. For those who don't know, I am also a poet. So I've written a poem. It's a promotional poem I've done through my company, Poetic Imagery in Motion, so that to really emphasize the importance of this new era of broadcasting that we're in. And so the title of the poem is called "The Revolution Will Be Broadcast." So this is a promotional poem for voicesforthevoiceless.com. When I was a young boy, I heard rumors of a revolution, rumors of a revolt, whispers of an uprising by the masses. When I became a man, I was told that the revolution would be televised. It would be broadcast to every station across the land. Oh boy, if only they knew. If only they knew. Well, the revolution will not be televised. It will not hit the airwaves, nor will it be heard on the telephone. It will be broadcast. It will be broadcast all over the world through the internet. For every nation will hear the cries of its people, the pain of the hopeless, and the struggle of humanity. For every nation will hear the voices of the voiceless. Well, what are you waiting for? The revolution is here. The revolution is here. The revolution is my video talk. And so that's the poem I wrote, and it has very significant meaning to me as I was thinking about this show and what I'm about to do with this show in the future. And so, again, when you think about revolutions, this is a revolutionary show that you're seeing for the first time. And there's going to be many more. So it's been a pleasure. Just want to wrap up with some things. You can catch, again, this promotional poem that I wrote. I'll separate it and create a separate video link where you could actually watch it or send it to your friends if you think it's powerful in itself. And I might even put it on YouTube. So we'll see if this thing goes viral or not. So that's our show. The last thing I want to say is I've already created, like I mentioned before, my first show. So this was the welcome show. So I wanted to do that firsthand. But like I said, I had a very important show that I needed to do last week. It was the 21st of January, because the topic was something that came out in Yahoo Finance, and it addresses the question of can your state go bankrupt? And actually something I've already looked into, and I'll be doing a show in the future about. And well, I did a show already, but doing future shows about this topic. And the title of the show that I just only recorded is called "How Financial Secure Is Your State?" And so take a look at that show, and you'll see a glimpse of what we're really going to be doing to the next coming shows to come. And so thank you for your time. I think that's all I have for today. But it's been a pleasure. I don't know. I'll see how long the recording of this show has been, but it's been a pleasure. And so I want to thank you again for your time, regardless how long this show was, and for sticking through it. I understand that that's the power of my video talk, that I have the ability to record as long as I want to. So the recording will be broadcast live again, so you can watch it as a pre-recorded show for those who missed the show at 10 o'clock. And next time, just be prepared to watch a show, or just watch at any time at your leisure after Friday. The next 2 weeks, you'll see the next airing of the show that will broadcast. I don't know the topic yet, but whatever it is, it'll be enlightening and powerful, empowering to you and your family. So God bless, and thank you again. And as always, you're watching Voices for the Voiceless, a Frederick Media production, which is a subsidiary of Frederick Capital. Again, thank you and God bless. Have a good night and good day to you.